Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're just about to get started. Want to give everybody a couple more minutes to get logged in. And while we are doing that, while we're waiting for everybody to kind of get situated and settled, just to let you know, at the end of the presentation, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to for questions that you may have that you may think of during the presentation, or if there's something that you didn't get answered. The chat function is down in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. And like I said, I will open that up at the end of the presentation. If there's anything that you need in the meantime, please just maybe jot down your question, and then I'll try and answer those at the end. So all right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. We thank you all so much for joining us today. Before you head off to Scandinavia, we wanted to reach out to answer some questions that you may have before you depart, like what to pack, currency, where to meet your tour director, that sort of thing. So first I'll go over just some general information. I'll answer some of the questions submitted on the registration forms, and then at the end of the presentation, I'll open it up to any questions that you may have. And for those of you that don't know, my name is Amanda Hancock. I'm the manager of sales and marketing for Brekke Tours. If you have any questions that I don't answer for you today, please feel free to contact our office by phone or email. I also invite you to visit our website, as you'll find a variety of information about traveling to Scandinavia and beyond there. And I know some of you had specific questions for your escorted tour, and I may not answer those online today, but we'll be sure to reach out to you via email afterward to get you those answers. Now, a couple of weeks before you depart on your trip to Scandinavia, you can expect to receive a packet of information from our office. You can expect one packet of information per couple. In the packet, you will find the following: a departure letter with some basic information pertaining to your specific tour, a final tour itinerary, your final flight itinerary, luggage tags, contact information for the hotels you'll be staying at while on tour, airport information, and any other information that might pertain to your particular tour. Now, some documents are more important than others. For instance, please double check your passport to make sure it is valid for at least 3 to 6 months after your return date, and that you have a copy or two of your passport. We actually recommend that your passport be valid for at least 6 months past your return date. Be sure to pack your passport and a copy in your carry-on, and you may want to leave a copy of your passport with a family member or a friend, which can be sent to the U.S. Embassy in case your passport is lost or stolen while overseas. Now, please take a few moments to ensure that the name listed on your airline ticket matches your passport name. This includes your first, middle, and last name. You may also want to keep your airline receipt to ensure that your miles are credited to your account. The airlines are responsible for crediting your points to your frequent flyer account, so if your account balance is incorrect, you may want to contact them directly. And finally, if you've booked any independent services with us, say a pre or post tour stay, please review your documents before departing the U.S. and contact us immediately if you notice any errors or if you have any questions. Please note that the vouchers will have emergency contact numbers in case you need assistance while traveling. And finally, be sure to note any special instructions on your vouchers. For instance, some train vouchers may need to be exchanged for an actual ticket before you board the train. Now, on the land portion of your tour, we allow one suitcase and one carry-on bag per person. Luggage handling at most hotels is provided for one suitcase. Thus, your luggage will be delivered and picked up at your room at the beginning and end of your stay. We do provide 2 luggage tags per person. Thus, please put these tags on your large suitcase in order to make it easier for the luggage handling at the hotel. You may also want to put a label with your name, address, and phone number inside your suitcase in case your tag becomes separated. Now, most airlines do allow one free piece of checked luggage on international flights. If you have any domestic tickets booked in conjunction with your international flight, the airlines may charge a baggage fee. So you may want to check with your airline before departing to see if any fees will apply. Now, typically your luggage can weigh up to 50 pounds and the dimensions cannot exceed 62 inches. This is length plus width plus height. A standard large roller bag is what we recommend using on your trip. And for your carry-on, typically the weight cannot exceed 22 pounds and the dimensions should not go over 45 inches. Again, this is length plus width plus height. If your bags exceed the size or the weight restrictions, the airlines may charge an additional fee, so it's just something that you may want to be aware of. And because luggage fees can change as well as restrictions, and it depends on which airline you're flying on, we recommend contacting the airline directly for more information. And so here's and afterward you'll have the links to this. I'll send that out in the video recording. So don't worry about writing the links down or anything like that right now. So inside your suitcase, you may want to pack the following. Casual clothing is appropriate for all of our tours. For the nights that we have dinner included, you may want to bring slacks and a nice shirt or blouse, as Scandinavians do like to dress up for dinner, but it is completely optional. Clothing that can be layered is recommended as temperatures can change depending on your travel for the day. Good walking shoes are a must, as sightseeing along cobblestone streets and walking in the mountains of Norway is not the place really for heels and flip-flops. A raincoat with a removable lining is also a good choice, or you may want to bring a rain poncho. A light coat or jacket may be necessary in the morning and during the evenings. And you may wish to bring a swimsuit if you would like to enjoy any of the pools or spas at the hotels. And finally, leave your valuables at home. If it will create an emotional or financial hardship, it's best just to leave it behind. Now, in case your luggage is delayed, I recommend packing a change of clothing in your carry-on bag. And if you're traveling with someone, put some of your clothes in their suitcase and vice versa in case one bag is delayed. And if you're planning to visit family or friends in Scandinavia, you may want to bring a small gift, especially if they're extending their hospitality in some manner. Appropriate gifts include an American flag or windsock, books, calendars, caps, t-shirts or other items unique to your city or state, college or professional sport clothing or cap, Native American or country and western themed items, liquor or liqueurs, and then for children, Disney clothing, candy, puzzles, and cartoon characters are popular. And then some other things that you may want to pack include an extra memory card or batteries for your camera, snacks and a refillable water bottle, washcloths, because a lot of the hotels in Scandinavia actually don't have a washcloth. So if it's something that you like to use to clean your face at the end of the day, you might want to bring your own. Tissues, sewing kit or safety pins, medications, and this includes prescription and over the counter, band aids or a first aid kit, converter and or an adapter, and we'll talk about those in just a minute, sunglasses or sunscreen, extra eyeglasses or a repair kit, extra contacts and solution would also be something I would recommend, maps and travel information, spot removers such as a Tide stick or wipes, inflatable pillow and an eye mask, an umbrella or a poncho, a journal to record your favorite memories of the day, a small day pack for sweaters, cameras, snacks, and water, and then plastic baggies. And those plastic baggies are really great, especially if you have a wet swimsuit or some sort of liquid that you want to secure in your suitcase. Put it in a plastic baggie and you'll be set to go. Now, the climate in Scandinavia is very similar to that in the northeastern United States, though it's rarely as hot in the summer or as cold in the winter. Average daytime temperatures in Fahrenheit for June, July, and August range from the 40s to the mid 60s, and it really depends on your area of travel. It's always a good idea to check the weather forecast before you depart the US. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about converters and adapters. So, the world runs on two types of electricity, 110 volt or 220 volt. North American devices typically run on 110, while the majority of the world runs on 220. So, if you are not sure if your device is dual voltage, you can look on your device. So there's usually a label. It's either affixed directly to the back of the device, on the AC transformer box of the power supply lead, or molded into the plastic on the plug. And sometimes it's really hard to see, so you might have to look really close carefully. So if your device is dual voltage, that means it works at 110 or 220, then all you need is an adapter. And that is what actually just changes the plug from our two-prong flat plug to a two-prong round plug. If your device is not dual voltage, you will actually need a converter to convert the electricity. So the adapters are usually pretty inexpensive, maybe $3 to $5. However, a converter can run $25 to $35 depending on where you get it. So it's just something to check ahead of time and so that you're prepared. Now, most hotels will have a hair dryer in the room, but if you're like me, you need a curling iron or a hair straightener or something like that, you may want to check and see if your device is dual voltage or if you're just going to need an adapter. So, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and Iceland each have their own currency known as the kroner. In Finland, they use euro. The currency of the five countries are not interchangeable. The easiest place to exchange your money is actually at your arrival airport, and your tour director can assist with locating an exchange desk or an ATM upon arrival. You will find that major credit cards such as Visa, MasterCard, and in larger stores, American Express, these are honored at most hotels, stores, banks, restaurants. However, most credit card companies do charge a foreign transaction fee on purchases made abroad, so it's something to be aware of. We recommend that you contact your credit card company or bank before you depart the US. When contacting your credit card company or bank, notify them of your travel dates so that they will anticipate charges being made outside of your area and they won't suspend your card for what may appear to be suspicious charges. We also recommend making a photocopy of the front and back sides of your card to leave behind with someone at home who can assist you in the event that your cards are misplaced, lost, or stolen. You can also inquire about foreign transaction fees to determine which credit card has the lowest rate. So ATMs are readily available in larger cities. Please note that some hotels and shops in Scandinavia are actually cashless, so you will need a credit card to make purchases at these locations. We don't recommend taking traveler's checks. So this little chart here down on the bottom right-hand corner, it's a great way to just kind of get a ballpark figure on the exchange rate. So if you're in Norway, you take the kroner and divide by 10, and that gives you kind of an estimate of what the US dollar amount is. And then on the flip side, for euro, you're going to multiply by 1.1. If you do want to know what the exact exchange rate is, I would recommend visiting owanda.com and you can kind of see what the exchange rate is for the various currencies. So before you depart, if you are planning to travel from Minneapolis, you may be interested in our Park and Fly special in conjunction with the Hyatt Regency Bloomington Mall of America. It's near the Southport entrance and rates start at 167 per night for a king or two queen bedroom. It also includes 10 free days of parking, shuttle to the airport and the Mall of America. And if it's something that you would be interested in, please contact our office and we'd be happy to give you some more information and see if there's a room available for you. So when you get to the airport at Minneapolis, there are two terminals. Terminal 1 is Lindenberg and Terminal 2 is Humphrey. Iceland Air serves Terminal 2 Humphrey. If you have a domestic flight arriving into Terminal 1, there is free transportation between the two terminal buildings. All Iceland Air flights will route through the Keflavik Airport in Iceland. Passengers arriving on Iceland Air and continuing on will need to show their passport at customs before heading to the gate for your next flight. on to Scandinavia. So you will not need to collect your luggage in Reykjavik if it has been checked through to your final destination. So for those of you flying from Minneapolis to Oslo, you will change planes in Reykjavik at the Keflavik Airport. You'll also have to show your passport, but you shouldn't have to collect your luggage, provided that it's checked through all the way to Oslo. The layover time really that you need in Iceland is pretty short. You really only need about 30 to 45 minutes to get from gate to gate, even going through passport control. So it's pretty easy connection. During your flight with Icelandair, you can expect free in-flight entertainment. Headphones are for sale, or you can bring your own. Complimentary water, soft drinks, tea, and coffee is provided, and they do have a selection of food for sale, or you can bring your own. There are no complimentary meals or snacks in the economy seats, so if you have upgraded, then you can expect to receive something if you're in economy comfort or business class, but if you're just in the economy, it's something that you have to purchase on board. For those of you that have requested window or aisle seats on your tour applications, we did request the best available seats for our tour participants based on their wants and needs. However, we can't guarantee that the airlines will not change or cancel the seats after the request has been made. If we're not able to assign the seats at the time of booking, you will be assigned a seat when checking into the flight. And if you're flying through Oslo en route to your final destination, such as Bergen or Trondheim, you may need to claim your luggage in Oslo and then recheck it through security again. And so usually we will kind of flag you guys on that, but just as a heads up, if you are flying through Oslo onto another destination, you will need to check your luggage or pick up your luggage and then recheck it again. So just a little heads up on that. So, how to avoid jet lag? If your flight arrives in the morning, you may want to try to sleep on board. If you have trouble sleeping, you may wish to bring an eye mask, earplugs, and blanket or a pillow. You may want to bring a toothbrush and anything else which isn't a liquid or a gel that can help you freshen up before you get off the plane. Wear loose fitting clothing and wear comfortable shoes and try not to take them off in flight as feet occasionally do swell. When possible, walk up and down the aisle to stretch your limbs to get the blood circulating. Drink plenty of water on the plane. You want to avoid alcohol, caffeine, and carbonated drinks. You also want to avoid wearing contact lenses in flight because the cabin air tends to dry them out. And if you do get airsick, drink a small bottle of ginger ale before boarding and pack a newspaper in your carry-on. The ginger ale will help calm your stomach, and so will the smell of newspaper. And after arrival, spend a lot of time out in the sunlight. This will help your body reset its natural time clock to coincide with your new surroundings. So once you arrive in Scandinavia, if you are traveling on our escorted group flight, you will be transferring with the group. So airport transfers in Scandinavia are included for passengers arriving and departing on designated flights of Brekke's escorted tours. So after deplaning, you'll collect your luggage and proceed through passport control. You'll see two exits, green if you have nothing to declare and red if you have something to declare. You'll choose the appropriate exit, and then after leaving the customs area, you'll continue to the arrival hall, and that's where you will meet our tour director. And they will be standing there holding a Brekke sign to make them a little bit easier to find. Now, if you're arriving on a different flight than our group, you can choose from several modes of transportation from the airport to the hotel. Airport buses with frequent departures run from airport to city center and vice versa in each of the Scandinavian capitals. Trains and taxis may also be available from the airport to the city center. It may be necessary to take a taxi from the central station to the hotel, though, so it's something that you might want to check ahead of time just so you have a plan. You can meet your group at the hotel that night for dinner, and dinner time is listed in your departure letter. So we'll be sure and get that to you before so you can make um, arrangements and plans ahead of time. So know your hotels. The first thing you may notice about your hotel room is that they're smaller than what we have here in the US, and not all of them will have air conditioning. All the hotels used on our itineraries do have private bathrooms with a shower or tub, a toilet, and a sink. Now, many hotels in Scandinavia will use key cards, which guests use to access their rooms for electricity as well. There will typically be a box in the entrance of your hotel room where you can slip your key card in and control the consumption of energy. Now, some hotels in larger cities will have a guest laundry room or offer cleaning services at an additional cost. So, for more on these available services, I would ask the front desk staff for information on that. So, if you're hoping to use the laundry room, laundry services while you're there, that's something that you will want to check out each hotel. Now, more and more hotels in Scandinavia are going cashless, so you'll want to have a credit card on hand for any purchases made at the hotel. And nearly all hotels offer internet access in their lobbies, at a computer station, and most will have Wi Fi in the rooms as well. Before you set off on your own, grab a business card or a map from the front desk. In case you get lost, you can use the business card to ask for directions in order to get back to your hotel. And most of the time, you'll find a hair dryer, an iron, or a pants press, along with shower gel and shampoo in your room. So, just to kind of give you an idea of what the typical day is like on our tours, most days will start with the departure from your hotel between 7:30 and 9 a.m., and that will depend on your day's schedule. A breakfast buffet is served each morning at the hotel, so you should leave some time to eat before you depart. Your tour director will advise each evening on the next day's departure time. Now, you can expect to arrive at your hotel each night around 6 p.m. and sometimes earlier. On travel days, you can expect several stops to allow for restroom breaks and sightseeing activities. Now, most of our tours are leisurely, but you can expect to walk short distances each day, sometimes over uneven terrain such as cobblestones. You'll need to be able to climb in and out of the bus. So there's several steps that you'll have to climb in and out, up and down. And then restrooms can be located in lower levels of buildings, and sometimes there are no elevators. So please be aware of this issue. If assistance is needed, we ask that you bring a qualified and physically able companion to assist you. You can, of course, choose to opt out of any activities while on tour. We leave that to your discretion. And motorized scooters are not suitable for any of our escorted tours. So, unfortunately, we can't control the universe. So, things do tend to happen that are beyond our control. If something does happen while you are overseas and you need assistance, I just wanted to give you guys a few helpful tips. First, ask help from your tour director. From lost luggage to finding a good place to eat, your tour director is there to help ensure that your vacation is as carefree as possible. If you happen to leave your phone behind in your hotel room, need an injury seen by a doctor, or have something stolen, your tour director can be a huge asset in getting you the help that you need. If you're on your own or you haven't met up with your group yet, seek help directly from the source, whether it be the airlines, hotel, car rental agency, etc. If you're lost, ask help from the locals. Most Scandinavians speak English fluently, and you will find that many are willing to lend a hand if asked nicely. If you really need assistance right away, be sure to know how to place a call while you are in Scandinavia and what the local emergency numbers are. Emergency contact numbers will be included in your final documents packet. Please review and bring this document with you. Now, if your passport does go missing, know where the U.S. Embassy is located so you can immediately start the process of getting a new one. And finally, be adventurous. Don't let one bad thing ruin what could be a great trip. And just think of all the stories you can tell everyone when you get back home. And then finally, here are just some random tips that we threw together that we thought would be helpful. And some of us wish that we had known ahead of time before we traveled to Scandinavia for the first time. So first, many thresholds in Scandinavia are raised, and you'll find yourself stumbling if you are not careful. Also, be cautious when getting out of any bathtubs in Scandinavia, as they tend to be taller than the tubs that we have here in the US. Now, after finishing a great meal, you might find that your waiter or waitress keeps coming to check on you but never brings the check. If you find this happening to you, just kindly ask for the check and soon you'll be on your way. And speaking of eating out, tipping in Scandinavia is becoming more customary, but the percentage is not as high. For instance, if you were eating dinner at a restaurant, a tip of 5 to 10% is appreciated if there was not a service charge already included in your bill. If you're unsure, you can ask your server. And while we're on the topic of tipping, we do leave tipping up to your discretion on the tour for guides and the bus drivers. And you'll find a handy guideline on your travel tips guide on page 4. You can offer tips in US dollars, but local currency is usually preferable. Now, because your luggage will be put through the ringer on your way to and from Scandinavia, it's a good idea to pack any liquids such as shampoo, conditioner, soap, and other liquids in Ziploc bags to prevent any spills on your clothes. You may also want to bring a small bit of hand soap to hand wash any items you may want to rewear while traveling. Another handy tip, and one that I cannot stress enough, is to call your bank or credit card company before you leave the US and let them know where you are going, how long, and to expect some charges to show up. The last thing you want to have to worry about on your trip is how you are going to pay for things. Pack a couple of days before you actually leave. This will give you a chance to hopefully catch anything you may have missed. And finally, pack some snacks to take along with you. Granola bars, trail mix, etc. You can use this space to bring home the items you purchased along the way. All right. So we had quite a few questions that were asked on the registration form. So I just wanted to go over those really quick, and then I will open up for any additional questions. So, how much money should I bring? And this is a really hard question to answer because it depends on a number of factors, such as the length of your stay, the extent of your travels, and last but not least, your shopping and sightseeing plans. Our tours typically include all of your breakfast and most of your dinners. However, lunches are usually left up to you. You can expect to spend between $5 to $15 for a lunch in Norway, but if you eat a large breakfast and bring a snack with you and then eat a decent dinner, you'll find that you really won't be needing lunch very often. Other expenses are usually of a personal nature, such as laundry, drinks at dinner, taxis, and gratuities for the drivers and guides. I would recommend bringing a bag of snacks with you on your trip, trail mix, energy bars, chips, etc., and also pack an empty water bottle. The tap water in Scandinavia is perfectly safe to drink, and you can save $2 to $3 on a bottle of water just by refilling your own each day before you leave the hotel. And then on the way home, like I said, you can use that bag to store your souvenirs. Should I get money before leaving the US? If your bank can exchange US dollar into the local currency, such as Norwegian kroner, then it may not be a bad idea to bring some money along. I would contact your local bank first to determine if they have kroner or euro on hand, and if not, can they acquire some? You may also want to inquire if there are any fees or what the exchange rate would be. You can then compare this to the market value to see if you're getting a good rate of exchange. Otherwise, I would just wait until you get to your arrival airport and then use the ATM to extract money. So that might be the easiest thing to do. Um, but will I be able to wash my clothes? If you're planning to pack light and wash your clothes while traveling in Scandinavia, you may be in for a bit of a challenge. Laundromats are pretty scarce. Some hotels do offer laundry services, but they can be pricey. Taking items that can easily be hand washed in the sink and then hung overnight to dry is a great way to keep your traveling garments smelling and looking fresh. Do my medications need to be in pharmacy labeled bottles? Now, the TSA currently does not require passengers to have medication in prescription bottles. However, I would recommend taking a copy of your prescription or snap a picture of your pharmacy label on your phone, just in case something happens while traveling. Now, if you're planning to fly with a CPAP machine, since it is considered a passenger medical device, such as a wheelchair, it would not be counted as part of the carry-on allowance. To bring one on board, you must submit the make and model in order to get authorization to carry it on. So if you could please let us know as soon as possible, And basically, we just need to know the make and model. We can pass that on to the airline so that they can give their approval ahead of time. And this information has to be entered no later than 72 hours prior to your departure time. So, like I said, if you could please send us an email at our main office, it's tours@brekketours.com. We'll pass that information along to the airlines. If your CPAP needs distilled water, you can bring a bottle up to 3.4 ounces in your carry-on, especially if you're planning to use it on board the plane. You can bring water, but if you're carrying it on your CPAP device, it must be in a sealed container, 3.4 ounces or less, and fit into a quart-sized bag. And if you are planning to bring your CPAP on board the plane, if you have upgraded your seats to an exit row, airlines will not allow you to sit in an exit row if you have a CPAP machine on board. So they consider it a medical issue, and so they'll move you. If you have an exit row seat and a CPAP machine, if you don't need to use it on the plane, I would suggest packing it in your check luggage. That way you can keep your seat in the exit row. And then finally, tipping. So tipping is not included in the cost of your tour. It is left to your discretion. While on tour, you can expect to have one tour director with you during your time in Scandinavia. You may also have local guides that will join you for a short period of time. These local guides are there to provide in-depth information into the sites and areas you will be visiting, while your tour director will provide general commentary, assist with any issues, and keep the tour group entertained throughout your journey. You will also have bus drivers that will accompany you throughout your trip. Now, if you have been satisfied with your services, we suggest the following amounts as appropriate. So for local guides, we have $3 to $5 per tour. Per tour per person. And then for your drivers, $4 to $6 per day, and your tour director, $6 to $10 per day. And if your tour director is based in the US, they may appreciate tips in US dollars rather than in kroner. All right. And so now you know. And now I'm going to open it up to any more questions that you may have. So, and while we're waiting on people to type those in, I just want to bring up our contact information in case you do think of something later on. That way you can reach out to us either by phone or email. I would like to mention that a lot of this information that I cover today is in your travel tips that will be um, in your final documents. You may have already received one already in your registration packet, and of course, a copy is available online as well. So let's see here. Pop over here. And so if anybody has any questions, please feel free to type those in the bottom right-hand corner, and I will try my best to answer those for you. We have a question about accepting electronic tips, and at this point in time, I don't know of anybody, any of our guides or tour directors accepting electronic tips. That might be something for in the future, but at this point, I would just think um, the local currency, actual cash, would be better. Um, when will we know if our tour director is from the US or Norway? We will actually include that information in your final documents packet. So just check that out. We have somebody that asked how many people were on the presentation today. We've got about 40 currently. So, are shampoo and soap provided at the hotel? Yes. So, generally, your hotels will provide shampoo. Sometimes it's a shampoo conditioner combo, sometimes it's separate. And then you will have shower gel as well. So, if you're planning to travel light and don't really want to bring those with you, it should be okay. And so, driver tips expected daily or at the end of the tour? So, that's a good question. So, for your overland driver, that will be with you for several days. At the end of the trip is a great time, and your tour director will kind of give you some clues about that. That your bus driver is leaving, and this will be the last day that you see him or her, to kind of give you an idea of when you will want to provide those tips. For your local tour guide, that would be at the end of the tour, and then the tour director again at the end of the overall tour. So hopefully that helps. Um, yes. So somebody had asked about purchasing food on the plane. So if you are flying on Iceland Air in economy, complimentary meals are not provided. So it is something that you can purchase on board, and you can also purchase something at the airport to bring with you on board. So just something to be aware of. Uh, the Iceland Air app, the tickets don't show up. I am not sure on that one. I have not downloaded the Iceland Air app recently, so that would be something that I would have to answer following the presentation and do a little bit more research on that. Sorry, Paul. And so the CPAP machine, you can actually either carry that on or put it in your check bag depending on your preference. If it's something that you're planning to use while on the plane, then obviously you want to bring that on your carry-on. Otherwise, you could put that in your checked luggage. We have somebody asking how many will be traveling on a particular tour, and that's something that we can let you know after the presentation. So, oh, okay. So, Marilyn, you had asked about having sharing a room. So it's you and a cousin. If you would like for us to send you both a copy of the documents, that's something that we can do. We just need to know that ahead of time. So if you wouldn't mind just sending us a real quick email, and we'll be sure and take care of that for you. That's not a problem. One suitcase, one carry-on, and one personal item. Yes, that is correct. So usually when you are on the plane, you have your carry-on bag, and if for the ladies, you can have a purse or a coat, something like that. That would be considered personal item, and then your check bag, one free check bag. Do we get complimentary dinners on the flight? If you are in economy, no. So again, that would be something that you would have to purchase on board the flight or bring your own food on that you've purchased at the airport. So if you have upgraded your seats to like the Saga class or something like that, then you will receive complimentary dinners. Yeah. Make sure I haven't missed any questions. Oh, somebody had asked about being gluten-free. So Terry, if you didn't note that on your tour application form, if you wouldn't mind sending us a quick email, we'll make sure that we can make those, any kind of accommodations that you may need for dietary needs. So we just want to make sure we kind of get ahead of that. So let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anything else. No problem, Terry. All right. I have a few more questions coming in, it looks like. Okay, so meals, let me see here. I think I have that written down somewhere. Let me find my page with that information. It's in here somewhere. I know it is. There it is. Okay. So snacks on board Iceland Air can range from $2 to $5 for such like chips and sweets and trail mix, that sort of thing. And then meal items are from $8 and up. That includes a snack box or a sandwich. So it kind of varies depending on what it is that you order. So hopefully that helps. Is there an area on the motor coach seat for personal bags? So usually there is space underneath it's kind of like a airline seat where there's space under the seat. And usually there's also an overhead bin as well. They're usually pretty small. You could probably get a small backpack, a purse, and or a jacket up there, something like that without any problems. Um, so hopefully that helps. But usually there's plenty of space, on the bus for things. All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, or if you think of something later, please feel free to contact our office. Again, here's our contact information, and if we will be sending out a copy of the video recording in case you want to review it later or share with somebody that you might be traveling with. Um, If there's no other questions, then I hope you all have a wonderful time in Scandinavia this summer. And please let us know if there's any questions that you may have before you depart, because we want everybody to feel comfortable before they leave the US that they can get to where they need to go. So thank you all again for joining us this afternoon. I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week, and I hope you have a fantastic time in Scandinavia with us this summer. Oh, sorry, we had a couple more questions. Yes. Okay. So this will actually be our last presentation for the year, but I will record it and send it out later. And then yes, so your carry-ons, if you guys are off of the bus driver will lock the bus if he is not in the bus. And so you don't have to worry about your belongings being left on board. So if you want to leave your purse behind while you're out, taking pictures and that sort of thing, the bus driver will either be with the bus or he will lock it. So hopefully that helps. But, okay. Well, if there's not any other questions, I will let you all go. I know everybody is busy and busy with summer plans, hopefully getting packed and ready to go and excited about your upcoming trip. Thank you all again so much for your time this afternoon. And please let us know if you do have any questions that you think of later or you just need a little bit more clarification on something. For those of you that we had some questions that were specific to your tour, like I said, we'll reach out after and get you those answers. So thank you so much again, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.